Today, I'm going to unbox and take a first look at The Last 100 Yards, Volume 5 for King and Country. This is a game designed by Mike Denson and published by GMT Games, which was kind enough to send this to me. Previously, I've gotten versions of this because I was part of the playtesting for this. In fact, in order to play this one, you need this one and this one. So you need these two to play this one, to play all the scenarios. Some of the scenarios you might be able to play without, but by having both of these, you can play all the scenarios. And I got in on the play testing after the first version came out and got in on the play testing of this one, Last 100 Yards, Airborne over Europe. Continued with the play testing, both my son and I, on Solomon Islands, which is Volume 3, and started helping out a little bit with the play testing on the Russian front, but, life happened and got real busy, so it was did not really contribute anything to this other than my previous contributions to Volume 2 and Volume 3. So if you got problems with Volume 2 and Volume 3, then they're not necessarily all Mike Denson's fault. Anyway, and I'll put a link to my coverage of these of this series. I have a Last 100 Yards playlist, and then I've done individual videos on a lot of these games. I'll put that in the description so you can kind of see the evolution of this series and some of my discussion of it. I like this series. I'm a kind of a fan of small unit tactical games, which I define as platoon level on down. So platoon, squad, team, individual, and this fits right into this. This fits into kind of the squad format of that. Think of squad leader and advanced squad leader, and there's a whole host of small unit tactical games, which I did a whole article and got some recognition from the Charles S. Roberts for that. So I'll put a link to that in the description as well. You got a lot of homework today. Also, there's a lot of banter before I get in here, and I do want to get in here, but I'm going to post this on D-Day week because I believe there are some D-Day scenarios in here. I believe so, or at least, right after D-Day. So I'm going to post this on D-Day week. I usually do a big to-do on D-Day week, and so I'm going to try to keep up with that and do a few pieces of stuff that's relevant as well. And plus, since I just got this, literally I got this yesterday, and so yesterday from the day that I'm filming this, but I'll be posting this again during D-Day week. Also, as part of this, I believe there is a Juno Beach scenario in here. At least I hope there is. I thought I was reading and thought there was. If I'm off, then I'm off. Go sue me. But this is also a Kilroy Goes to the Movies, because I just picked this up about a week ago from the filming of this, and then watched this on Memorial Day of all things. And so this is it's not quite like Band of Brothers, which is a series, or Saving Private Ryan, which is a movie. This is more of a documentary type movie. It has a lot of the feel of a movie. There's a lot of live action, but there's also kind of some voiceovers and kind of somewhat of a documentary type format here. And I liked it. I recommend this. The Canadian effort on D-Day and thereafter is not necessarily covered as much. It's covered in some of these games. I remember my first D-Day game was The Longest Day from Avalon Hill, a big old 7-mapper. And I remember playing we started playing the whole campaign, but we played the full scenario of the Follies Pocket. And the Canadians are very prominent in that, of trying to close that gap. And I lost it. I was the Canadians. I was the Allies. The Germans got away. But so this is all about the Canadian effort. You have the paratroopers. You have the tanks. The amphibious, the tanks that had skirts that came on. That some of them didn't make it, but some of them came ashore. And then, of course, you have the landing of it. So the full Canadian effort on this. So anyway, I highly recommend this. If you like war movies or war documentaries, this is worth a watch. Some of the acting's a little a little bit cheesy, but it's not. It doesn't have the same caliber as a Spielberg movie, but worth a watch nonetheless. Anyway, all that, and we haven't even gotten the doggone box yet. Someone made a comment to one of my videos the other day that it was like 3 minutes and 55 seconds, and it finally started. Yeah, I talk. So if you like it, great. Keep coming back. If you don't, you can turn the channel. I don't know. I don't have Patreon or anything, so it's not like I'm making a living off this. All right. Here's the back of the box. You're going to see some of these geomorphic maps, which is consistent with this series and consistent with a lot of small U tactical series. You're going to see an example of the counters here. It as complexity is a 6. I generally put this. It's not an overly complex game, but it's so different. It's got a totally different perspective and take on squad level tactics. And it's all about initiative and reaction. And can you see or see someone do something and then you're reacting to it. I like it. And it's got this whole built-in mechanism of time, and time element is built into the scenarios that you want to try to accomplish your mission quicker. If you dilly-dally, you're not going to get as many points, or you might just fail. So I like all that aspect of the series. Go look at some of my previous videos on that. But if you're new to squad level, or you're just an old hat with squad leader or advanced squad leader, this is worth a look because it's different. It has a different feel, and because it's so different, it's a little bit more complex. I would put it a little bit higher than a 6 because it takes a little bit more effort to kind of get into it, especially if you've played the other stuff. You have to kind of rethink and kind of race that and kind of learn some new stuff in that respect. Solitaire is a 6. I would rank the complexity a little higher, and I'd rank Solitaire a little bit lower. I did play this a lot when I did play testing. I played it both against my son and also played it Solitaire, but I played it two-handed. There's really not rules for it, but there's not a lot of hidden information. Some scenarios have hidden information, but most of the scenarios, you kind of know where stuff's at, and since it's based on this reaction type mechanism, it's not like you have to totally rethink the other side. You can look at the other side and say, yeah, they can see that, they're going to react, they would react, or they would let that go because they're trying to do something else. So maybe the 6 is fine, but there's not a built-in solitaire mechanism, at least not in the stuff that I play tested. God, I'm still blathering, and we haven't even gotten the box, and it's now over 7.5 minutes. You guys love that. All right. The Last 100 Yards introduces innovative systems intended to model small unit behavior in combat during World War II. The game is purposely designed to deliver a brisk yet intense gaming experience that forces many decisions upon you to take command of a British infantry company on the Western Front in World War II. The Last 100 Yards Volume 5 for King and Country is the 5th game in the Last 100 Yards series. It covers major campaigns and missions from the second half of the war in the West, introducing the British Army to the LHY series. A set of missions simulate British actions from the June 44 fighting in Normandy to British airborne engagements in September of 1944. That's a Market Garden. During Operation Market Garden. Well, okay, I should just read ahead. All major British armor from mid-1944 onward are covered. Look at that. By 1944, the Red Devils of the British 1st Airbornes had proud tradition of parachute and glider drops in North Africa and Crete. The men in distinctive red berets had gained well-deserved reputation for courage and effectiveness as the tip of the spear to take key locations behind enemy lines and hold them for attacking force as an efficient and effective fighting force. You will take experience from Airborne over Europe, that's number 2, and extend it to these British elite forces for airborne missions into Arnhem as part of Operation Market Garden and behind German lines as part of the Caen Canal in the dark hours before D-Day. The bridge was later named Pegasus in honor of the Red Devils' mascot. Enter into the decisive phase of the war and storm Juno Beach. There it is, the new and untried Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. That is these guys right here. Okay. Push inland towards the Caen Bayou railway line and take the airfields at Carpicu. I'm going to mispronounce that. Sorry. Against the initial counterstroke made by the 21st Panzer Division. Finally, join operations aimed to take Caen and its vital road network and face the fury of unblocked 12th SS Panzer Division, equipped with the best weaponry and equipment available, finally unleashed and sent forward into the invasion. This is not a complete game. You need ownership of volumes 1 and 2. Those are those 2 games I mentioned. And there you have it. So let's get in here and see what we have in store for us. I know, in 10 minutes, I broke my record for the longest. Maybe not. I think I've went on and on and on and other stuff. But 10 minutes before I even get in the box. You really got to want this, people. You really got to want this. I noticed this right here, too. This is for King and Country, and this came through the UK. So I think it came from the UK. Anyway, I think that was because of... maybe because of the tariff situation. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to get into politics. But I do want to thank GMT. I want to thank Second Chance Games. I want to thank all who brought this here. I feel like I'm accepting the Oscars. All right. Enough of all that. You get a bag of baggies. Love it. Dice. Now, this uses 10-sided die for a lot of the mechanisms in here. So you got 4 of them in 4 different colors. Look at that. Here's the series rules 4.0. I was back on 1.0 or 1.2 or something like that way back in the day. But here is 4.0. I'm excited to see what they've done with this over time. Always thought the rules were fine, but since it was some different way of looking, I was a victim of my own knowledge or having played, Squad Leader and all those other type of games of its ilk. It took some relearning or readjusting to get into this. But even though I still thought the rules were a little clunky at times, so I'm anxious to see if they've cleaned them up over the different iterations of it. It's typical GMT quality, 2-column, full color. There's not a ton of exposition. I mean, you got a lot of different sections, but it's not like super long paragraphs. Just little case, the case system. So that's all fine and good. The rules, as you can see, are a little verbose at times. I mean, this is a small unit tactical. They tend to have quite a bit of rules because you're dealing with a lot of exceptions over time. But even with all that, it looks like we're at 36 pages before the start of the index. So, and that's concluding design your own mission and optional rules. So really, we're at 34 pages. So there you have it. That is the rules. Here is the casualty track, where you're going to be keeping. It's kind of a tug of war. You're going to be keeping track of casualties, and that's also the score is going. The small number, the subscript number, is going to tell you to adjust your victory points. Here's your time track. I told you about that whole time element, and you got random events, fate table, sequence of play, all right here. Very nice and done. It's one-sided because it's going to be off to the side of the board, and you're actually going to use that track quite a bit to keep track of stuff. Imagine that. Here's your combat tables, all your key charts, anti-tank, and everything's kind of color-coded. So the stuff that's color-coded on the counters is going to kind of help you. Like yellow, you're dealing with armor or anti-armor type stuff. Blue is for assault, so you can see a blue table over here. You got mortar fire, and then you've got your train effects and blind hex and all that other good, you have to have line of sight and all that other fun stuff in any kind of small unit tactical game. You get 2 of those, they're good quality. And then we get into the scenarios here. I'm just going to dump out the box. So here are the different scenarios. We got 59, and so the scenarios are going to be very similar to what you expect from way back in the day, old Panzer Blitz, right? Geomorphic maps, how you lay it out, and then what units you need to put in there. And there's 59, 60, 61. Oh, this is a design your own mission right there. Look at that. I'm going to get into that a little bit. Then we got 6. Let's get a little closer here. 62, 63. So September 18th. Here is June 9th. So this is right after D-Day. Here's June 7th. So we're kind of advancing from the beach there. Ham and Jam. I think this is June 6th. I think this is part of D-Day here. Yeah. Ham and Jam. And that's got 2 sides to it, so that's a big one. All right, then we've got 67, which is Juno Beach, which 67 is my lucky number. And then there's Juno Beach right there. So I guessed it right. All right, so there's Mike Red Beach. You're dealing with the Canadian A Infantry. This is probably that 3rd Army. The 3rd Canadian Infantry Division, I should say. So there you have it. There's Juno Beach, or at least a segment of it. Then you got 68, which is the end. And then 69. So you got, those are all your missions. You get these boards here, which they're not mounted, but they're a little bit thicker. They're the kind of the same material as some of these other materials, as far as like player aid type materials, but they're fine. I mean, they're thin enough that you can put plexi on it. And usually these scenarios only use a couple of these, so you're having to take up a lot of space. So a small piece of plexi will do fine. But as you can see there, oh look, we got some beach going on here, and we got some fields. It looks like we had a canal or something there. We got some outbuildings here. We got some urban environment. I don't recall a lot of urban environment. Well, maybe in the Russian one. I haven't played that as much. And then some more here. This is map. This is number 57. So very nice, very nice. And then we get the counters. And you're going to need to use some of the other counters probably for the Germans. So this is mainly giving the counters you're going to need for the Allied forces, the Canadians, and the British. But you can see there's a lot of information in there. Don't get too scared. It's relatively intuitive once you figure out how the system works. But as I said, a lot of it's color-coded to the right chart that you need on there. But there you have it. And they're double-sided, of course. And then you've got some more here. Again, double-sided. And the neat thing about this is, I mean, you get armor involved here too. This is fully immersive. It's not like some of this, even like Squad Leader back in the day, they kind of built up, started out with infantry and then started getting more and more armor. There's some games that don't like have any armor, like Combat Commander, I don't think started out with any armor or really didn't focus on that. But this one, you have armor and vehicles right out of the box on here. So these are some markers and administrative type stuff. And there you have it. That is all that you get in a box of For King and Country, number 5 from Last 100 Yards. Yes, that is quite a bit of stuff in this box here. There's all the scenarios. Can't forget those. Here's all your charts. Can't forget those. You get your counters. Can't forget those. And what else we got in here? We got, we gotta read the rules. You gotta have the dice, and then of course baggies. All right, so there you have it. That is a box of For King and Country, Last 100 Yards. If you are playing this system and like this system, this is a no-brainer. It just adds more units, mainly British and Canadian, and some of their operations into the mix with some unique scenarios. You get an updated rule book. I don't really know what all changes were in there, but I think it is. They're definitely, Mike is dedicated to keep upgrading and refining this and making it clearer and concise. So this is a no-brainer, right? If you haven't tried this system yet, you're gonna need at least these 2 games to get started. So, but if you really want to get this, and you don't have this and this yet, you need to get these 2, and then might as well add on this. You can skip the Solomons if you don't want to do that. That's all dedicated to the Pacific Theater, and the Russian front is just that. It's dedicated to the Eastern Theater. This is all West right here. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. I'd love to know your comments on this. Sorry I went so long, but I am kind of excited about this, and I've invested quite a bit of time in the early play testing of some of these editions. So I'm always like to see how it is being developed, and I'm a big supporter of this. So anyway, thank you all for stopping by. Let me know your thoughts down below. Talk about anything, this game, the series, any one of the individual volumes in it, or Juno, or since this is on D-Day week, anything about D-Day. It's for those who sacrifice so much, we owe them. Take care. Thanks for watching.